it into existence, then I started, whoa. Same way with you keep looking. But that is, once again, because that is the reason we have this black color. That's another thing they don't tell us. They tell us our color comes from, because if you were to Google it, now here's the thing, when something like this is coming, it's not anything that you can Google right now. Because if you were to ask, well, where did black people get their color from? They would tell us we get our color from being in Africa, being around the equator. They'll say that our color is a byproduct of protecting us from the sun. That's not where we get our color from. If that is the truth, why are bats that live in caves, why are they black? Whales that live in the water, why are they black? We get our color because, once again, this was a perfect absorber of light. And if God is light, then this was the vessel that God spoke to, and when God spoke to us, we brought creation, as I say, into existence. We just have forgotten that. But now, if you're hearing this, this allows our imagination to break out of the walls, bust the floor, and bust open the ceiling, and get our God imagination back. And that's what this world fears more than anything. Us returning back to what we used to prior to us being arrested here, prior to Willie Lynch. Wisely injected lethal lies, internally embedded, limiting our natural conscious healing. Now that's a lot to absorb. But I say it's radical, but once again, once we get our imaginations, we don't have to worry about anything in terms of the COVID-19, COVID-20, these 5G frequencies. Once you vibrate at your right frequency, nothing can touch us. Nothing can touch us.
Well, that was a lot of information.
It was. And we most definitely had to kind of pull back the layers, because sometimes when you bring information at that level, and I'm quite sure you'll hear some of the things that I say and put the right images in, but here's some of the stuff I said, you cannot Google it. Some of the stuff I'll have to, I guess if someone were to ask a question, how do you come to that conclusion? I can then show you how I come to X, Y, and Z conclusions through what's used in what's called deductive reasoning. And in my last video, one of the things I said, working with electricity, that has helped me to use what's called deductive reasoning. Because one of the things I do in my profession is I have to find out why power is not making it to a certain point.
Right.
So now, and it's important to understand this. So what I mean by that, I have to go down a power line. And I'm looking at miles and miles of power line. And if there's a problem on the power line, I have to discriminate, okay, what is causing the problem? Once again, because I may see a tree on the power line. And that tree may be on the power, but that's not causing the problem for the power to be out. I may go and I may see, and I have people tell me all the time, well, it's in my house, and they'll point to something. Once again, I have to be able to discriminate. I have to look at it and say, that is a problem, but that has not caused the problem where the power's gone out yet. So, I'm trying to make sure this ties together.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was my reason for saying that, is that by me having that deductive reasoning and that type of logic, that is how I've come to some of the conclusions that I've come to by pulling back this and pulling back that. And as I say, some of the things that I'm saying, you just can't Google it. You can't Google that ultraviolet light is really black light. That's not, because that's something that they don't want known. That's something that we have to really make sure that we establish, so that black people will begin to understand that when you're looking, once again, at a black person, you're looking at scientifically an ultraviolet person, a person who's vibrated at the higher frequency. Until we get to the frequency where we become God again. Then our imagination becomes reinstated.
So what you're saying is that we'll be able to heal ourselves and heal the planet.
When we get to that level, just our being, nothing around us. I mean, see, this world that we live in right now, this whole thing really has to go out. Because this world is about the scarcity principle. When it's not enough, they then try to capitalize on it. But when you look at how the original system that we created, that's enough sunlight for everybody. It's really enough air for all of us to breathe, enough trees. But this world, where it capitalizes things, when there's not enough, then they make it valuable. That's a world that has to go out. A world where there's an abundance of everything is the word that has to come in. That was the original world that we lived in, not the scarcity of something. I mean, you create one coin and then you say it's worth $1 trillion. You know why? Because there's only one. Everybody then, when you create a society, like you set up the atmosphere for people to always be at war with one another. I don't want to go too far into that, but we went into a lot, so we'll look at what we've talked about so far. But
that was good. That was a lot of information, and I'm sure that can help somebody, because right now everything is shifting. You know, our thinking is shifting. Us returning to who we supposed to be is shifting. A lot of people are waking up. That's what I want to say.
Yes.
A lot of people are waking up to who they are. You know, you are much greater than what we're being taught, and so a lot of people are coming to that reality. And what do you feel about, and I know that our time is changing right now, but what do you feel about in this point in time? And I understand that we have to go through this shift. That's why everything is happening right now. I understand we have to go through this shift. But how do you feel about what we need to do, as what you said in the beginning, what we need to do to get past this or to heal in this situation? You know, like you said, I'm trying to think of exactly what you said. You had said the solution to the problem.
Oh, well, the ultimate solution would be for us to vibrate at a higher frequency. But since we're not there right now, we have to look at where we are. So there's certain things that I even do. One of the things I do, because I'm out in the public, and one of the things I do a 20-minute, I've got a Vicks steamer that puts out warm steam, actually hot steam. And so 20 minutes in the morning, I get over that steamer, I got some essential oils I put in there, and I get over that steamer, and I allow that steam to get in my nostrils, because from what they say is that the coronavirus lives here. And I can probably agree with that, because when they do the testing, they put a swab in your nose, then they check that swab, from what I'm understanding, to determine if the coronavirus may be present. So if it lives there, if it's incubating there, so if you could start doing measures to actually start, I guess, catching at this level, even if you don't have any symptoms. And even if you have older people, make sure that they some type of getting steam in there, hot. I just one video I saw where this lady had a hair dryer. You know, she was putting heat in there, because once again, ultraviolet light and heat kills the coronavirus. So that's what I'm saying about vibrating at the higher frequency. If we can vibrate at that frequency, we can actually destroy, because we become high. That's one thing the body is even trying to do when it gives us a fever. It is trying to actually turn up the heat, but this body can only take so much heat before it makes the body itself expire. But that's one of the things I do. I breathe in the heat, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening, washing my hands, at the same time doing the physical distancing. But I think, once again, and I think if we're healthy, we can survive this.
Right.
But one of the things we talked about earlier, a lot of, I'll say this too, I came up under the church, still believing in the Bible, but not from the level, not from the place that I was taught the Bible. A lot of people in the church, a lot of people are in the church are being affected by this. Preachers are dying, because a lot of times the preachers, we know, as preachers, they know to pray, but a lot of times beyond praying, they don't know what to do. Now, we were talking about how with Jesus on this particular situation, when he made a particular type of clay, used a certain type of spit and put on the man's eyes. So sometimes you have to know how to put it on different hats. Sometimes you have to pray, and sometimes it takes actual action. So that's when I even brought up, not only do I want to vibrate, but I don't want to just be one-dimensional. I also need to put the steam in my nose, because I don't know how this thing is coming. What may be will be the best course of action at this particular time. So I think we need to have more than one bullet in our gun. If you got a 6-shooter, make sure every chamber in that particular round, and every chamber have a bullet in it that you can use in your weaponry as a weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is our time. Thank you. Thank you, Yandisium. I hope this information was able to help somebody. And this is a podcast. What you want to say?
No.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
going to close out.
Peace and love. Now this is a 2-part. We're gonna split it. It was split it up so you were able to see it all. That was a lot of information, but that's what podcasts are about. You know, just getting out information. You need to hear how people are thinking, and I love it. I love it. So anyway, this is our message on the coronavirus and what's going on. It has shifted from what it was 2 weeks ago to something new right now. So just wanted to make another podcast just to talk about what we talked, kind of go over some of the things that we talked about before. So peace and love, everybody. Yamada.
Yeah.